most times when I go to different auditions, I meet someone, or or someone can give me some advice for the next one. So like I'm always meeting people that gives sound advice. Oh yeah, and I remember seeing them again. I'm like, remember you said this? That it really changed the way that I do this. So I think there's like positive like messages all the time, all around. It depends how you want to look at it.
Hello, this is Andrea Rice from OurDayDream. And today we have another awesome guest. His name is Daniel Johnson. He is a breakthrough actor. If you like this podcast, please hit subscribe because we have a new awesome guest coming up every week. So without further ado, here is Daniel.
Hey, how you doing?
Good.
How was your day?
It was pretty relaxing actually for a change.
Okay. Was it usually like hectic? A lot of people ask of you, or?
Yeah. And then, I work in a rehab, so it's like I don't want them to keep their old mentality.
Yes.
Like I want them to change their old mentality.
Right.
And so it's like a struggle because it's like, but I want to keep who I was. And I'm like, yeah, but that's not beneficial. Like
right.
Who you was got you in here. And so, yeah. So it's like, Andrea is so mean. And I'm like, no, like I actually care.
Right. Yeah.
This is what you call love.
Yeah. Sometimes you gotta like, say things that like can move people forward because they're too readily stuck in their position. So you gotta say something that they don't expect.
Whenever I'm having those testing days and people ask me, how are you today, Andrea? And I'm not really having a great day. I don't want to lie, but then I don't want to tell the truth either because I don't want to complain. So I'm just like, I'm living the dream.
Living the dream. I'm the same way. I did the same thing. So I don't want to bring someone else down and stuff because, being around those people, they just bring you down. They bring everybody's morale down. Everybody's miserable, But yeah, did the same thing. Like, living the dream, this is the best day ever.
Right. So, I'm so excited to talk to you. Like, I follow you on Facebook, and I actually have you as like one of my favorites now. And I usually like get on like my news feed for like maybe 5-6 posts. And so you're like always right up at the top, and I'm like, love it, love it, love it.
Oh man, I love that.
You're so inspirational.
Yeah, I try to be inspirational, like if I know most people who are around me, I try to keep it like a upbeat, attitude about life, about just going through different things because there's so much like negativity that's all around that can bring you down. And I'd rather not, like going there. It's not like that I'm not aware that exists. It's just like I try to give more towards the positive.
Right.
No.
Right. Somebody had told me a long time ago, they're like, Andrea, you're so naive. Because I would like look at the good in everybody. Mm-hmm. But I'm like, it doesn't mean I don't see the bad in them. It just means that I want to highlight what's good so that they can see it.
Absolutely. Because those people probably hear a lot of bad things all day. They never hear nothing good that they do. So they're expecting nothing but negative things to come their way.
Mm-hmm.
So like I'm the same way. Like I tell people, I say, I'm not naive. I know that exists. I just choose not to give it so much energy. So many people feed into, they can't wait to hear something negative so they can just and they just keep going with it all day. And then all of a sudden now you've got that negative energy because they were feeling a certain way and they thought they'd leave it with you. They're like, okay, well, hey, have a good one. And then they're off to like their home or whatever. So like, yeah.
Right. It's the judgment. You can't run from it. What you do wrong, you will feel.
Oh, that you're correct about that. Absolutely.
Yeah. You can't run from it. So your projects include the romantic comedy Swipe, the drama God's Love Save Me. Is it Ma Rainey?
That's Ma Rainey Black Bottom. Yeah. That's the last film from Chadwick Bozeman. Denzel Washington, he direct produced that. So
he's awesome.
yeah,
He's
I
like
like
my
Denzel.
favorite. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the drama Lost Mine.
Yes.
Yeah. So did you always like want to act? Were you one of those in school that were acting and yeah?
Well, like I started off like my sister Minnie, she used to always say have us in these plays at home. And then it kind of transposed into that like later on. It's like I was an athlete in college. And then I was like, well, I kind of like acting. I remember going out for movies and like the audition. I like the competitive nature of auditioning. And, it kind of like just stuck with me, like being able to like go into this other character and embody that, so like, yeah, I've always like being creative.
Right. Did you, I feel like if you really are in love with something, it's going to be easier for you to excel at it, right? Because that's all you think about. Is that how it was for you?
Yeah, absolutely. Because you got to take like, if you know the process of going out just for acting and stuff, you got to be able to accept like, okay, then get me there. But what did I learn? So most times when I go to different auditions, I meet someone or, or someone can give me some advice for the next one. So like, I'm always meeting people that gives sound advice. Oh yeah. And I remember seeing them again. I was like, remember you said this, that, it really changed the way that I do this. So I think there's like positive, like messages all the time, all around. It depends how you want to look at it.
Right.
So yeah, so I'm always like looking forward all the time to have that good conversation. And to think about it, most things come from just a very casual conversation. It's not like sometimes in a room that's full of people auditioning for that role. Sometimes it can be as simple as just being on an elevator, just being in a lobby, just waiting. You never know who you're talking to, right?
It's true. It's true. I believe that everybody that's brought to me is for me, even if they get a rise out of me, even even if they get me worked up. Because I'm like, well, this has to be happening for a reason. It's not all by accident.
Right. Yeah. No. You're correct about that. I'm a real big believer in energy. Like, if you ever talk to anyone around me, I'm always saying this. I believe all these energies do exist. There's positive energy, there's negative energy. And just like you, I believe that those things are supposed to happen. So like, let things unfold how they're going to unfold. Like, oh, like, wow. Sometimes people show their true colors in really dark situations. And then you got like some people who like shine brightly, they just light up the room and you can just see, and then they touch everything, like, and everything just goes, correct, just from like, meeting that individual or whatever they're saying, it just resonates with you. So I'm a real big believer in energy because people give off energies all the time in the inner rooms.
Right. And I did that one time. Like I was going through a thing and I was like being nice to everybody. I was really good to everybody. Yeah. And everybody was just stomping on me for like all day long. So I was like, all right, so like I got to do something different here because I don't ever see it as, oh, like that was just a crappy day. I'm like, well, there's something going on here. Like I need to pay attention to. And so like the next day I'm like, whatever happens to me today, today's going to be a good day. Today's going to be a good day. And whenever I did that and I kept feeding that into my mind, it was like everybody was giving me, like everybody that was stomping on me the day before, they were giving me compliments. Like, your hair looks nice today, Andrea. Like,
see?
Like I was getting like all these compliments. So I don't know. I tell people, I'm like, fake it till you make it is a real thing.
Yes, absolutely. And it doesn't mean that you're not going through real things in life. Like, oh man, she's just so naive. She's just happy all the time. Nothing ever happens to her. You just choose not to like give it so much energy.
Yes,
I'm the same way when it comes to that. Like, you can tell like negative vibes and negative people. I know what you try to do to me, but still, like I'm not gonna let that affect me. I'm not gonna carry that weight with me. I'd rather move on like this with my life or whatever plan I have. I have a whole method. Like when I wake up, I call it like a cocktail of success. I have to work out, whether that's going to the gym or running. I have to do that. then I have to, after I get done doing that, I have to go ahead and get something good to eat, like to power through the day, but it all has to be like a good mixture. It has to be the workout, something good to eat, positive affirmation that I say for myself, and also things that I do, whether I'm leaving like a positive message with someone or a positive message on like social media, I have to be like that individual that like, that sets myself up for success. Because if you don't do that, the other things will weigh you down. I don't even watch like the news way early because there's a lot of negative stuff. I watch that at a certain time, and then other than that, I'm about my day. I don't even watch that in the morning.
Right. Right.
So,
You reap what you sow. So it's like
right.
the more goodness that I sow out, the more I'm gonna reap. And no, if I'm not reaping it, that's all right. I mean, it just means that I'm healing. It means that there's something that needed attended to on that day, and that's okay. But I'm gonna still keep on, reaping and sowing.
Right. Yeah. Like just looking at like maybe that things don't go your way. I think of things like this. I think like, okay, like God's still working in me where he's building up this infrastructure so I can handle that blessing, that because if I would have had it then when I wanted it, I wouldn't have the infrastructure to go ahead and handle that, so I definitely would have fumbled that too. So like, I'm really big on like, okay, that wasn't meant to happen, but what is the there has to be something here, or why did he have me get so close only not to get it? So there was something, whether it's a person or whether it was like to teach you like, okay, look, there's more that has to be into this that you got to study, that you got to research. So, I'm a real big believer in that.
Yeah, I believe that that's like staying a child of God. Like that's being as a child, like what you're supposed to. So
yeah, always be seeking the good out of every situation. Doesn't make you naive. It makes you
willing to learn. Yeah, willing to learn. So was there like a time period in between like you wanted to act and it was like, did you ever feel like it was like there but you just couldn't grab it, like you knew that that's what you wanted to do but it felt like it was just like so far away, like there was like a time period, or no?
Oh yeah, like when I first started acting, I didn't really all know what to expect. It was only like what I've read, but I never went out for like auditions and things like that. And I remember like going to an audition and then freezing. And then I told myself, I said, you know what? That will never happen to me again. I looked at other people, they just killed it. And I had to do like an audition with like several other people in the room and they were phenomenal, but I didn't know how to insert myself into like that scene. And it's literally like, like 30 seconds or sometimes a minute long. But if you don't do that, it's on to the next. Like, thank you for your time. And that's it. And I'm like, oh, what just happened?
Yeah.
So I would say like way in the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like I'm like sort of like in that patient period where I see it, but it's not just like quite there, but I just keep working towards it. And I feel like we were talking about earlier with like the energies, I'm just like, I just keep visualizing like, these things are all building blocks in order to get there,
Right. Yeah, I'm a real big believer into like, you have to have like works in your faith. And so we all know like without like work, like you can't just like have faith and don't have work because it's dead. Or you can always be learning, always be growing. There's always opportunity there for you to do so. And like just pick up, like what you see is going on and then seek out the knowledge and then come back stronger and better.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. I definitely feel like it has been like precept by precept, like little by little, like, what I mean? Like you just keep getting, and then you just like move like one step further.
Right. Yes. It's like this. It's like someone else could be doing literally the same thing as you, but they're not getting as much success as you. It's only because you tapped in a different field into yourself and what the other people are looking for. A lot of people are like, well, I'm literally doing the same thing as you. Well, not exactly the same thing. A lot of auditioning has to do with you as an individual. You know, if you're not a likable individual, people can see right through that. And they're like, I don't know about being on a set with this person for like 10 to 12 hours. That would be tragedy. You know, they say those things. People work with people they get along with. You got these personalities, and you got to be authentic, you know, because everybody's always testing your authenticity. So like, just show up and be yourself, but be yourself in the right way. Like you're making four steps to go ahead and be like, I'm a good person, and this is the real authentic me. Because too many people come off too much like a salesperson, like they're trying to sell themselves on to people, and it's not really them. And no one wants that cheesy sales guy.
You're right. Yeah, it's like, pick me.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite project that you worked on so far?
My favorite project I worked on, I would say Swipe. I like Swipe. Swipe is a good romantic comedy. You know, like if you get a chance, check it out. It's still like in the works. It's gonna get done, you know, like this year. But yeah, all those characters in there. It is funny. It has every other scenario that you can think of when it comes to like dating or trying to make a connection with individuals, right? Right. So like there's all these different scenarios and everything. So I like Swipe. You know, I have a pretty good engagement with everybody like that's on there. I know this one actress by the name of Ashley Rain. She's phenomenal. We go back and forth in some great dialogue, and that's what you want. Like when you're on set, you want to be able to have a great connection with the other characters and to be able to bounce dialogue off of one another. It's kind of like playing tennis, you know, like you just see the energies just flowing through the room. So like, you know, then Swipe is an all-star cast. Well, yeah, I would say Swipe is the best project I've worked on. You know, so far, you know, and then there's another thing that's coming out that's really big. This is the future movie. It's called like What Happens in the Dark. That is a huge one, you know, that's going to come out. It's directed by James Ford, you know, Adriana Alfonso. She's a phenomenal actress. So, yeah, it's a little bit of everything in that one. You know, I think that you would enjoy that. I'm not sure what kind of genre you're into, but it's like dramatic and it has a lot of like thriller moments and psychological, you know, like battles are going throughout the movie. So
yeah, that's interesting to me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always curious. Is what the heck is that movie? Crow?
Oh.
And then there was other ones too that said like if they play like certain, they say like if you play like certain characters with like bad energies, like do you take that with you? Have you played parts like that, right?
Oh yes.
Do you take that with you home from set?
Well, no, I mean like, well, you can take something home because some people get so involved in their character. You know, like, and there's some people who for months they just be locked away by themselves, just trying to dive deep into that character, you know, and you have to really sometimes, like some people have therapists. I'm not even mad at people who get therapists, you know, like, because you need to talk yourself through things because you get stuck just believing you're in that character. Same thing that happened to Ledger that was on Batman, right?
Yeah.
You know, like you can get stuck being that character, just going so deep, you know. Because you want to be authentic on screen because people can see right through that. But yeah, you can get really deep. It can get really dark for you, really quick. And then, you know, and I've seen other actors like on set, you know, like they don't break character. Even when it's like time for a break, they're still in their mode. I'm like, whoa, okay. They're still talking to people like regular, you know, like I'm not gonna say any names, but like they know who they are. But they're really good at what they do, and they do not break. So like, yeah, you can go really deep. I would say, yeah, if you need to talk to someone, you should talk to someone. There's nothing wrong with that. I tell people that all the time. You know, like, cause like, yeah.
Yeah, because they teach you in like retraining your mind in order to like reprogram yourself from like one way which wasn't so good to like going a different way. Like you really want to believe in your subconscious mind what it is that you want and feel it, and then that then brings it up to your consciousness, which changes your identity.
Right. Yeah. I've played a lot of characters, and I mean, I've even done plays and stuff. You know, I'm always like this bad husband, boyfriend type of thing. And I've been in an interactive place where they're so close to you, you know, and I came back and I was a bad dude where, you know, I was like a cheater and, you know, and then I'm coming back with flowers and you can hear people in the front row like, don't do it, girl. Don't do it. Don't give him the time of day, you know, and like you can hear that, but you still gotta be in character. And like, but that means you're doing a good job if you got that kind of effect on the audience that's watching.
Right.
So, you know, but like, yeah, you can go really deep into character, and then you gotta touch someone. Maybe you gotta take a little break, you know, to connect with yourself again. But yeah,
that's a lot of work to get to change your mindsets. Like, I don't know if you ever did that self-work before, but I have. And like, there's still stuff I'm trying to like reprogram, you know, inside of me. And it's a lot of work to like, I'm thinking about the passion and the love made it easy for them to switch into this character because they just love what they do so much. But then I'm thinking about the process back out of it. That would take a little bit of like a minute. Like that would take like
reverse
a
building.
month.
Yeah. Then sometimes, you know, there's some things that connect with people where that is actually them. It's very closely related. Or I always believe that people do have like this dark side. They don't like the knowledge all the time.
That's true. Everybody, I think.
Yeah, maybe it's like deep inside you and stuff, you know, like I think I see some of these different movies and things out there, and some people are so good, and you know, like maybe that is them in some kind of alternate life. I don't know. You know, like you have to think like, wow, that was pretty that's pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah. Denzel's pretty awesome with that too.
Oh yeah, he can dive into character and go really deep, and like, yeah, he's good. He's just phenomenal the way he delivers dialogue and everything. I remember seeing him like when he crossed the stream, he's going back to holding, and it's like slow motion for me. You know, I gave him the piece and said that was really good, really good. But he did. That was on Rainey and stuff, you know. But like, yeah, I've seen a lot of his work, and then another one of my favorite actors is Samuel Davis.
Yeah.
You know, no, well, Samuel Jackson, right?
Yeah.
He is really good. Really good.
Yeah, I used to really like Denzel's movies because they were like really inspiring, but it was like in a more my life type of scenarios. Like,
right.
Like everything goes bad in order to bring forth a lot of wisdom and inspiration behind it. And I always felt like his movies kind of had that like really bad the whole way, and then at the end it's like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. It's kind of like some of the movies that I'm in, like where God's Love Saved Me. You know, that's based on a true story. You know, so there's a book out there about it, but there's a piece that we're doing, and it's kind of like, you got to go down before you get good, and you know, it's that kind of thing, like, you know, like you can't keep moving in that direction because moving that way, you know, it's no good. Keep digging yourself in a deeper hole, and you're gonna go back. Some things gotta fall apart to fall together, and it's like that, like in life. And you know, if you look around, there's a lot of scenarios like that.
Yeah. Your character was in prison in there, or was that an illness?
Oh no, like he actually had an illness too, but he did go to prison for a while. You know, because like it's very interesting. Like in real life, you'll find that people will go to like prison and then they connect with God. They come out. They're this whole total different person. Like, yeah, you know, like, and they really have to be, you know, like flat on their face. You know, some people have to fall flat. You know, you don't want to, but like some people, they need to happen like that. Yeah, see. You know, I've done it too. I've done it in some days. I'm like, wow, I don't know why I was thinking that way. And then you have to hit hard sometimes to wake up. They were like, oh, wow. You know, and Inception is another good one. The Leonardo DiCaprio in that movie, Inception, is another one. You get out, fall flat on your face sometimes, and then wake up and like, you know, I don't know what I was thinking, and I did that. But
yeah. And then you think about like all the time you'd have too. Like they're pretty, like they come out, like if they find that spiritual desire, they come out with the Bible memorized and stuff.
Right, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, they're like
I'm getting better.
spiritual.
I'm getting better with, I would say I'm getting better with the scriptures, whatever. 'Cause I'm really into the Bible. And so there's
Yeah.
some people verbatim just, can do it. And, but I think I'm really strong spiritually, right? I'm getting better at remembering those scriptures and recalling it and stuff. But like, yeah, you want to be grounded by something,
Right.
because if you're all over the place, yeah, life can get real hectic. We all know that in this world. So.
Yeah. I was I say it all the time, but I was an atheist for 17 years. And it was like as soon as I became an atheist, like all this anxiety instantly. And then I'll talk about it, but my daughter did the same thing. She followed suit, even though I sent her to church and stuff all the time. But
Right.
she went from like the light of the room to all of a sudden just being full of anxiety. And so I'll tell her all the time, I'm like, if you're not going to believe in God, that's your choice, but at least give that anxiety to a leaf or a tree or a cloud or something. Like, pick
Yes.
something, stop carrying it around with you.
Right. And then sometimes those people can be so involved into that or into attracting negativity, and they don't even know it,
Right.
unless you see themselves from an outside perspective and some people tell them and everything. But like, but sometimes I believe sometimes people fall into that, like even when they do go to church, not understanding that sometimes evil people do go to church too. Like there's a lot of them that they can make it in the door and everything, but eventually they show their true colors. But like, yeah, you don't want to take in that negative energy with you and stuff, because some people will just call you up and, hey, and just give you all of this, and take it with you. Okay, hey, well, hey, good night, and it would leave you with all of that, and now you can't quit thinking about that. And I'm a real big person of not taking that with you.
Right.
I hear you out. Like, I'm okay with empathy and all that, but I like to think of myself like a solutionist. Like, I'm not trying to step over what you're going through, but I do know if you stay in that realm too long, you're just gonna fall down that rabbit hole, and then you might be beyond like like recovery where it's like short, like real fast, or taking steps in the right direction. I'm not the person where you think you're that you're going to feed me that information and I'm going to give you some more information to feed off or to keep going deeper. Because some people just like to beat themselves up over and over. Like, don't do that. Don't, and because I'm not going to do that like with you. I'd rather tell you how to get out of it. And I'll help you get out of it, but I will not, keep giving you energy to keep beating yourself up.
Right. And there are people out there like that. It's like, if you're not gonna, if you don't want to take my advice, like, why you keep coming back for advice though? Like, you have to actually put some effort into it.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I'm constantly like on the evolution of change, but then I'm very stubborn. So I gotta just do it for a long amount of time, like the same thing until it finally like clicks in my head. But I mean, for real, like, I think that people get so caught up in routine and, everyday life and, and this is who I am and this is what my life is and this is how the world is. And they're so steadfast. And I was talking to some people about today that, just because my mind's doing a certain thing doesn't mean that's me. Like, that's my past stuff, like, you know what I mean? Like, that's all I know. And so I can always look outside of that into a new direction and learn something new rather than thinking, yeah, that's who I am. But how about this? Maybe that's not who I am. That's how my life conditioned me,
Yeah, you're completely right about that. I think a lot of people fall victim to that. Like, they can have so much great advice for other people that they take it and they're like, but like, I find that the people who have the greatest information have a hard time receiving their own information and taking it and doing it. You'd be like, you know what, you offer the best advice, and I'm thinking like, wow, I'm glad that person said that. But then I'm thinking of like, I'm trying to like, just like you, I'm trying to take my own advice and do it. And it really comes down to that discipline. But with every individual, it's a different kind of trigger, depending on how you grew up, like you never know what triggers things. And you know, and I know people who get in slumps and a couple things go wrong this way. And next you know, they're on that trail going down, down,
Right.
and everything's bad. The world hates me and it's beating me up. And, you know, and that happens to a lot of people. And, you know, I think that's like, you know, the start and the beginning of depression. And that is depression. And
Yeah.
people who will tell you stuff. You know, I talked to someone who would tell me all these things. And they were like, you know, I really didn't want you to comment. I just want you to hear it. You know, it just, I mean, and then I kind of got it. I guess I just need someone to bounce this information off,
Yeah.
but like bounce it off but don't respond. You
Yeah.
know, like if someone's like, if you give someone some bad information, right? And you just like, and you just say whatever. And you know, and you're looking for some kind of response, even if it's verbal, if it's bodily. They're like, why did you do that? Do what? Well, you just did a face. You know, like now they're feeling more worse off before they even, you know, like started giving you this information. But some people look for things like that to like, you know, just to happen bad. You know, like, you know, a person said, you know, if there was any good luck in the world, I don't have it. I have bad luck. Nothing but bad things happen. And
Right.
you know, we all know that's not true, but you can fix your mind state to believe that. You know, that you move forward.
Fake it till
like
you
that.
make it.
Yes, yes. And then there's things like that happen in life where people don't understand, like you can get so deep down where, yeah, it's not gonna kill you, but over time you're in this such of a low state, a low vibe state. Everything that's happening good around all around you, you don't want to be around those individuals because they're too happy. You know, like why are they so happy? You know, you ever see you find someone to seek you just to tell you some negative stuff, so you know you can say something negative about either an individual or an event. You're like, you know what, this area sucks because of whatever. You know, there's nothing really negative going on. You know, but it's just this person that sees the world that way. They see individuals that way. Then they try to bring other people in their negative world, and then they wonder why they don't have friends that want to call them up. Hey, why don't you call me? Because I you know, if you told them the truth, you know, like they would take that like, oh, you know, so and so is acting funny. No, not really. I'm trying to protect my peace. That's a real thing.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I've had people like that. They're just like, they would be like talking just like they were on cloud 9 all the time.
Right.
I'm like, come on, like, are you being fake with me or what? Like, I'm
Yeah,
like, be authentic though. I'm like,
yes.
you gotta have a bad day every now and again. Like, and it would really get to me. And I think that was what it was, is that was a point in time where like I was working towards that. And it was kind of irritating me because it was the exact opposite of what I actually, you know, or it was the exact opposite of what I was and where I wanted to be. And so, but I don't know, maybe he wasn't being authentic, or maybe he was.
Yeah,
No way
maybe
to
it
tell.
was.
Yeah.
What people don't know is that like sometimes, you know, like people who are not authentic and authentic people, they closely align. You know, it's only when you're facing certain events, if you go long enough with the observation period, that you can see the divide happen. But other than that, they look just like the regular, like positive, going in the right direction individual until you face certain events that can happen that you'll see the shift. It's a slight thing. Robert Greene in his book, he talks about these things. You know, like people who can like fake it for a very long time. It's really not them, and they can't wait till something evil happens with you. You know, like you know, I mean, like these people do exist, whether they want to acknowledge it out there or not. I just know they exist. You know, and you know, but you can see like, but it's only a slight thing, you know, because these people get away with it so much where they're like, no, you know, I've always wanted the best for you all the time, never wanted anything bad to happen or whatever. But like, they exist if you pay attention. A lot of people don't observe enough of the environment around them, you know. But like, you can see this, you know, people sabotage people. It's just what it is, you know. But I try not to like seek it out, you know. But I know it exists though. It's in people. Just like positive is in people. It's like that yin and yang effect, right? You know, just because it's bad over here doesn't mean there's nothing good over here. I just choose to lean towards the positive side.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. But yeah, for depression and stuff like that, like you have to recognize the fact that your mind's just full of the negative, and if you have to be fake for a little bit. Do what you got to do.
Do what you got to do. Yeah.
Yeah, do what you got to do. Like, I remember whenever I was first awakened to the fact that I did a lot of bad things to myself, like, I made my mind as corrupt as what it was. And because it was just so negative and dark, I would actually like talk to people, like my family and stuff. I would have like a full like 2, 3 sentences. And then I would stop myself. I would think, man, that was a little harsh how I said that. I could soften it up a little bit.
Yeah.
And this is all going on in my mind. So then I would repeat the whole thing. And they'd be like, we're not, like, I'm not deaf. I heard you the first time. You don't have to keep repeating yourself.
Yeah. Or like, it's very interesting. It usually comes from the closest ones near you. When you're trying to make a change in your life, they were like, why are you being like that? You're being fake.
Right.
You know, like, and you really are trying to make a shift in the better way. But some
Yeah.
people got so used to the bad you, they can't see the good you coming
Right.
forward
You know,
as
it's
being
bad.
like a real version of you. They were like, why are
Mhm.
you being like that? You're fake. You know, like, and you're trying to make a change, and you really do gotta like, isolate yourself for a little bit maybe, or get
Yeah.
around people who do connect with you, then go back.
Mhm.
And I find out like after a little while, people should adjust. They should adjust. Not everybody adjusts.
Yeah.
Like, so let's, like put that out there. Everybody doesn't adjust. But like, but you can't let those other people affect you to the point where you don't want to work towards a positive change in yourself.
Right, absolutely. Because my kids like literally looked at me like I was a nutcase all the time. Like I was literally losing my mind. Like, and but they were like older, but they were like older teenagers too. So like they would just like talk to me like I was like illiterate, like I was completely stupid, and
Right.
it would just drive me through the roof because I'm like, I'm trying to do something here. Will you
Yeah.
just let me do it? And it was really hard because you're trying to change the aspects of you to
Right.
like be like a better human being and just feel better and do things better and all
Mhm.
this. So you're fighting with yourself because
Yes.
you're contradicting everything that you want to do. And then you have your family over here. They're like, why are you acting so stupid, basically treating you like you're
Oh,
dumb or crazy, you know?
right.
And so like that's extra. So now you really have a mountain to climb. But I definitely
Yeah.
invite anybody that's going through that, you know what I mean, to hold on tight because my kids are proud of me now for like all the work I did.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Congratulations, because like I know that's tough, because I got
Yeah.
kids. I try to do things. There's just certain things that like will trigger you.
Yeah.
Like I'm a real big advocate about like keeping the house a certain way and organized, and if something's moved, I try to like look over it a little bit. I said, why is that? I might switch it a little bit, but I just know how much effort I put into it, or like, why is that on the ground? It might be a little piece. I'm really detailed when it
Yeah.
comes to stuff. Like, and they're like, oh, no, Dad's gonna get mad at that if he comes back. And then like my son, he'll try to get it real quick and stuff. After I say something about it, I was like, if I'm saying somebody, it's already too late. But still go grab it though, but just you're trying to, like you said, trying to invoke some change in yourself, and
Yeah.
also maybe it affects your environment where people will adjust and stuff. Like, I'm going to say something about that. Why leave it for me to see? Are you trying to, are you trying to do something to me? Or like, I think
Right.
there's sometimes like things that happen in the world, the universe, whatever. It's always like a test. They're always trying to test you to go back to that old. Like it's in me. I could, but I'd rather not. I'm trying to do what I've read, and they say do it like this. But like there is no book like easy 1, 2, 3 ABC.
Right.
There is like everybody's life is different. There's
Yeah.
different for everything. And that's what I come to realize when I'm trying to like invoke change in myself and also my environment. Everybody doesn't move with the same way like
Right.
at all. It is a battle and stuff. So yeah, I find myself praying for more discipline, right?
Yeah.
To try to stick to a regimen, like that's going to get tested daily. Yeah, I would say daily. So
Yeah.
you
I
got to do.
definitely, yeah, I definitely feel like because I started doing like I always did like the positive affirmations, but I started doing it more religiously
Okay.
like 3 weeks ago, and it does make it a lot easier throughout the day to just let stuff roll off your shoulders when
Hmm.
you would originally lose your mind. Like I'll go to work and I'll come home, my kid has like, it looks like his bed is the kitchen table. Like he's got an open drink on his bed and a food dish and a fork, and I'm like,
Oh Lord.
ah.
Oh, you're gonna lose your head, you know.
I
Like,
know, but it makes it easier to just like, instead of like letting things compile and stuff, it's like, well, I'm just going to tend to this issue right now. You know,
right.
there's bound to be another one.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because like even that's like negative. You take that with you, it can, starts to develop into some more negativity. And now before you know it, it's touching this and touching that. And you lost focus on what you were trying to do in the first place, like, and then now you're behind or whatever you
Yeah.
started doing. So like, yeah, I find myself in certain scenarios like that,
Or
like it will
or
be
start looking bad on yourself. Like, I can't believe that I fell short in that moment. And then you were making all this progress towards a dream. And then you're like, I'm not
right,
worthy of it. Like, I
right,
don't even.
yeah. You start questioning your direction and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say to people like find a way where you can go off into like a meditation state. It doesn't mean you have to meditate outside or like on a rock or whatever. Some people's meditation is like working out. Like that's my meditation. I like to go work out, to release some of that stress or anxiety that's building up.
Yeah.
Uh, you have to find out what your reliever is. Some people like to jog and run forever, and then come
Yeah.
back and look at something from a different perspective, and then you're able to handle it. Because if you handle it right then and there, maybe it might be an overload of other things that has happened throughout the day. Well, maybe that was a little too much. Maybe, you ever find yourself like doing a little too much, and maybe it was like a little maybe overreaction for this, but people didn't know that was
Oh,
like your tipping point. You know what I mean? This happened X, Y, Z, and now that was it. No one's gonna do nothing no more to me.
right.
Whatever TV show you're watching is going off because
Yeah.
I'm watching my show now. So there's a lot of things that happen throughout the day that can send you over the edge. People don't understand that. It's just
Right.
not that one thing. It's usually several things. But like recognizing it, like where you are and how to handle it and stuff, that is the first step to like progress.
Yeah.
To recognize, because some people never recognize. They're like, no, it was that. That's why I did what I
Right.
did. No, it probably happened a long time ago, and you didn't recognize it then, and it built up in you. Then that
I
was
like
the
that.
last thing, that you
Yeah.
could deal with throughout the day. So
Yeah, I like that. And then too, like, because you said it earlier about like you get on that snowball effect, and next thing you know, like everything's negative and you just keep going downhill, downhill, downhill. But that
right.
makes me think about, like, because I was like had severe depression for like 34 years
Oh wow.
until like I started like learning how to like retrain my mind, because somebody had pointed out like basically you're doing that to yourself. And
Mhm.
I'm like, whew, like, wow, like, that makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Like yeah. Yeah. Go ahead.
yeah.
Go ahead.
So I started learning about that, but it was like every time something bad would happen to me, I would be like, I have a horrible life.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Instead of like, this really sucks right now that this is happening. It was like every single time something bad would happen, my life sucks. I have the worst life ever. It's always been this way. Why does my life have to be this horrible? And it
Yeah.
was just making it this huge thing because I was carrying everything with me.
Right, right. Yeah, like yeah, that snowball effect. It's a real thing. I've been around people like that that's built up so many different things that's going on. It overshadows the good things that's going on in their life, and all of a sudden they have no good things, and
Yeah.
everything that happens to me. And yeah, and depression is it's a real tricky thing. Like to be able to overcome that or to recognize it. A lot of people don't recognize it, and they were like, "No, I try to do everything good. It just bad just finds me." And and like think about it like you like pain, you can't really escape pain throughout the world, right? Because it doesn't matter where you are, there's always going to be pain. Doesn't care what kind of good stuff
Yeah.
is going on, it's going to be there. But it's like kind of like how you respond to like that painful thing that is happening. Your response is really big, you know, and how you handle something in the first even like couple minutes. Because if you don't handle it accordingly, you know, like you were saying, it just grow, and in fact, grow, and then you know, be around a person, and then really, especially if they believe this other person's the cause of the pain, and you know, it's because they moved on, they able to have a conversation, they didn't forget, they'll bring it back up.
Right.
Remember when you did this and did that, you know, and then it just grows bigger, and that's why
there's time for that too. I always say that. I'm like, if you're going to hold yourself a victim to what the world's doing to you or what other people are doing, you might as well just wrap a chain around your neck and they're just pulling you around with them. Like, you're just going for a ride with them, you know, rather than just cutting the chain off and be like, I'm free, you know?
Right. Yes. Yeah. There's so much self-sabotage that people do to themselves. You know, I used to do those things too. But when you don't recognize it, you're like, no, I'm a good person. I'm not doing anything to myself. This person or these people are doing something to me that make me do this. If you didn't do X, Y, Z, that wouldn't happen to me. But you're trying to control too many variables out there. You can't control other individuals. And, you know, what you can control is, you know, how you respond to it. Just knowing that it exists, but like to say that like, hey, no, these people just come in at a good person. I was a good person just because this happened to me. Now I'm a bad person, and now everybody else that they encounter, they are looking for these different so-called red flags that they deem to be red flags, and you don't even know. Like you'd be doing the same movement as them, but just because something happened bad with those other individuals, they said, oh, no, you're going to do the same thing. You just didn't do it yet. You're going to do it. You're like about several steps away. Then now you're about 3, now you're about 2. It's going to happen. And then usually people look for an exit plan to make something terrible. Or sometimes I think you can feed so much energy into like the negative where it does come to life and it does exist. It didn't exist before you started, you know, then you start feeding it. Oh, now it's here, you know? So be very careful what you're asking in your world and stuff, you know, because then you find people who do those kind of things. They write off people and stuff. Then they go back and try to reconnect with those people they wrote off. Like, you know what, you weren't even such a bad person. That was that was all me. I was thinking about it. But by that time, those people moved on and they wrote you off.
Right.
Be very careful.
I tell people that too, like healing from like past relationships, like how important that is, because if you're going to sit there and you're going to look at your partner like they're probably going to cheat on me eventually, or what if they do cheat on me?
Right.
I'm like, eventually, you know, they're probably either going to cheat on you or they're just going to run the hell away from you, because they're always going to be inferior. Like, they're never going to be enough because they're always going to be that person. They're going to be the enemy.
Right.
You know
yeah, that is so true.
Yeah.
But like, I think if you treat, like if you go all in, like you're supposed to go all in certain relationships, right? It eliminates several other things that you don't have to worry about, because if you really truly love someone and they love you, you don't have to worry about them going down to the left side. But some people don't go all the way in. They go halfway in and say, oh man, why can't I make it to the other side? Because you only went halfway in. You had a bridge to cross back to the other side, and that's what happens. Usually people don't go all the way in with a lot of things in life. They go a little bit, but they just keep enough connection so they can bounce back to a reality they created. You know, and then they find out they never went in on like other things in their life, like a lot of things, and they're like, well, that didn't happen for me. Well, you never went all the way in. You never have faith in yourself. You never believed so much that it could happen, and then but you did believe that the negative was going to happen, and guess what? It happened. You know, or it happened to where that opportunity didn't exist for you no more.
Yeah, it's true. So I'm curious, like, obviously you're awake, and so you're not sleeping, your eyes aren't closed. And was there like a transition point for you where you like kind of opened up your eyes, or were you just always interested in like far out ideas?
I would say, you know, like just certain events in my life that has happened, you know, like my father, he passed away early on in my life. but my mom has always kept me grounded with church, so I thank her for that, and then like I started to connect the dots more, like even when I was older, like when I was in college, and understanding like how to be grounded more like with faith-based, with God, that these other things came to light for me. And I realized that like these other people that I had in my life, they meant me no good. Getting away from that and just following what I believe God has for me purpose-wise, open up all these different doors and opportunities that did exist before, but I couldn't see them because I wasn't like paying attention. I wasn't awoke to these certain things that did exist, and I would say, yeah, around my college time, that's when I became more, like present and seeing what's going on in the world, and how
Yeah.
things really truly do work, and
Right.
how you put energies in the correct places, they can manifest,
Yeah.
these results that you're looking for.
Yeah, it's like just play with it a little bit and see
Mhm.
what happens. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like
yeah,
if you're just go out there and put off a bunch of negative energy and see if
right,
your world changes. Like, or go out there and put off like a lot of positive energy and see if things morph. Or look at yourself really ugly that day and see if you don't have like people coming at you like in unfruitful ways. Or look at
yeah,
yourself like you're really beautiful that day and see if you don't come, and that's where it was for me. It was like I learned this, but I'm like, I don't know that, because I'm very analytical.
mhm,
Like I really need to like know for sure these things. And so it was like the one day I was like, it doesn't hurt to try.
right,
What's the
right,
worst that's gonna happen? And I tried it, and like I said, I was like, today's going to be the best day ever. Today's going to be
mhm,
the best day ever. Giving out a bunch of compliments, stuff like
right,
that. It's like all this stuff, like just start moving and
mhm.
rearranging.
Yeah, yeah, no, you're correct about that. A lot of people look for that kind of energy that you're talking about to receive back without putting out the energy. So they're looking to reciprocate it, but how are you going to reciprocate it if it's not you? So you just want
Yeah.
people to give it to you and you give out none. That doesn't work that way. That's not the
Right.
law of universal laws that's out there. It just doesn't work that way.
Right.
You've got to be that person who creates their reality. Because there's so many people that are trying to get you to believe and think how they think. So and so or so and so, that area over there, that's bad. That's a bad person. Why is a bad person? I know the person didn't do nothing to you, but let me tell you
Yeah.
what happened to me. You
Mhm.
gotta watch out. They'll do it to you too, and things like that. And that's the kind of like I guess the rep that people get where they try to throw off how they believe someone else is and how you should be thinking like them, and they just want to pass it along. That now they're creating this whole tribe of individuals who think and move like them, and you find the world always tries to get you to like shift and
Figuring
move.
it
And
out.
now you're not even thinking on your own. Now you're just thinking like so and so. Nothing ever bad happened to you ever, or even with that individual or individuals. It's just that like so and so told you. So now they planted this seed, and now they kept watering the seed, and now you believe
Yeah.
like that it really does exist. And if you know about the the subconscious and conscious, they can't tell the difference sometimes.
Yeah.
Imagination and real. That's why you got to be very careful what you take in. And
Yeah.
and that's through the years. People like, no, I can
True.
listen to anything, and it won't manifest in me at all. Like, no, not true. If someone's telling you a bunch of junk, that's going to come out in some kind of way in you.
Right.
And don't come around talking about so and so. I don't even know so and so. So
Right.
and I don't even like move like that. I don't
Yeah.
just people, and I don't move like that. Or like there's people who just write off certain areas or certain people, and they never dealt with them like ever. They just try to get you to believe like them. And
Yeah.
then all of a sudden you're acting funny if you don't believe like them. Why don't you believe like me? You're weird. I'm like, no, I'm not weird. But also like it depends what you're grounded by. Like me, I believe I'm grounded by like the highest power source, which is God.
Yeah.
So, I move differently because if you're not grounded by
Yeah.
God, I feel,
True.
hey, you're walking that situation unprotected. Like you walked in here
Yeah.
with your own human thinking and wondering why
Yeah.
you can't defend yourself on it. Then you gotta see what kind of battle you're in. I really do believe this. I believe
Right.
like these energies exist and stuff. You're over here trying to fight human things. Like spiritual things with human like weapons
Yeah.
or defenses and stuff. And you need all that. You need that and spiritual, but you're in a spiritual fight, so therefore, you need the other part. Not
Yeah.
trying to tell people what they need to believe in, but I tell you what I believe in. That's how I move, and it just works out for me. So
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. It's hard being a spiritual human living in a material world or a physical world because
yeah,
because it feels like it's always a test because nobody understands really where you're coming from.
right, right. Or it was like if people talk about what they believe, or it can be a different religion. I don't talk real heavily like on that if I don't have a lot of knowledge on, because I'll be talking from like an ignorant standpoint. But I
Yeah.
really listen to it, and then I'll do my research. Then I'll
Yeah.
come back to you if you can revisit the conversation like again. Because a lot of people talk from a place where they know nothing whatsoever about
Yeah.
whatever religion over here. And
Yeah.
and you believe what you believe because you've only been taught that since you was like young, and you don't, but you never looked at no other religion, or because there's bits and pieces in other people's religions that
Yeah.
you can look at like, oh, I like that part. That's pretty cool.
Hmm.
How you do that and stuff. And I
Yeah.
think about that even with like people, right? There's bits and pieces that I do like about certain individuals, and that as a total person, maybe I don't like them, or maybe I do like them, but I think that's just how the world is.
Yeah, it's so true.
Mhm.
It's so true. Especially like God bless me so much and had me work at the prison.
Oh, how was that?
And I was CNA, and it wasn't the inmates that made me want to run like hell. It was my coworkers. I
Right.
just
Oh,
like the inmates, it's like I just can't help but to see, like, whenever I see inmates in prison, it's like, what's the story line?
yeah.
You know what I mean? And if I really wanted to, I could really probably bring out a really bad part of that person. Like if I
Hmm.
really, really wanted to, I probably could have brought out something really scary.
Right. Right.
And I'm like, but that's not how that I wanted to be. Like I wanted to,
Hmm.
like I told you at the beginning, is I like to look at the good in people to show that to them. And so you would really see like really sweet human beings and like genuinely caring, and authentic. Maybe a
Right.
little shysters, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? But I'm pretty good at seeing that type of stuff. But at the same time, like you can see a heart and a soul there. It's not like
Right.
dark. And so I just believe that. I believe that the world just needs a lot more love. I believe that, kids, you have kids
Mhm.
out there walking around like, strangers need to step up and just make them laugh, you know what I mean? Or whatever, and just show
Right.
them that there's good human beings out there because I really do believe that, prisons are full of products of their
Mhm.
environment. And if we had more people out there just being good to strangers or being good to other
Yeah.
kids, being role models, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. I really believe that the world would be a better place.
Yeah. Right.
Call me an idealist, but that's what I believe. Like, I think that it could be a thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I believe there needs to be more people that think and believe like that.
Yeah.
And and how people try to like I guess write that kind of thinking off. They're like, well, you don't believe that there could be no negative. Yeah, there could be negative, but also there's good too. So if you don't want to acknowledge the good, I don't know how you can just stay on the negative. But and
Right.
there's certain areas like that people like, I mean, I won't go there because so and so and this happened. There's something to happen in every area. But like
Yeah.
they talk from like an ignorant place where they've never been to the area. They've only seen
Yeah.
what on the news. They've never ever engaged with no one who ever lived in that area.
Right.
Yeah, that has happened, but like certain things have happened, but like but you can't dismiss the whole community of the area. There's some like really good people in there. Like I've been to certain areas like where I stay, and it's been nothing but like love. So I have a different perspective for somebody from outside who's never been to the area and just
Right.
wrote it off. you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely believe like like what you're talking about, like being able to connect with individuals and see the love in them and be able to get that out of them sometimes. Because if you write someone off, you talk to them in a certain way and stuff like, yeah, maybe they're writing you off too, and then you don't have a good experience. You don't have a
Yeah.
good experience, you know. So like, yeah, there does need to be more like love out there to balance it, and there just isn't. But you know, starts with individuals. You know, it's gonna get better. Like eventually, that's you know.
In Jesus' name.
I'm being optimistic, you know, like you're optimistic about everything.
I come into agreement. So you and your twin brother, Nathan.
Yes.
Nathan and Nate. You guys have a podcast, Pittsburgh's Hotlist.
Yes.
Tell me about it.
Pittsburgh's Hotlist. So it is me and my brother Nate Johnson. His name is Nathaniel Johnson. He goes by Nate, and Syra Awa. You know, so we're the three heads to this, and basically it's geared more towards like people getting in the acting industry and what they have going on. We try to highlight it in a very marketable way, like on our hot list, like whether it's on the podcast or online. And if they do get some new movies or commercials coming out, and sometimes we do have like models too in the industry. If they got something like a positive message or just like what they're doing, we try to highlight it in a very positive way. It'd be no negative stuff that we highlight, because there's other things out there that do negative stuff, and we're not into that.
Yeah.
And you know, we're just trying to give people, you know, like some legs to stand on, to let people know, like, hey, you know, this person is the next new up and coming or hot thing that they're doing a whole lot, you know, like in the industry. Pay attention, you know. And so we're trying to give them the highlight they need. You know, a lot of people don't highlight the success of people, and I think if there was much more of that, they believe much more in themselves. So that's what Pittsburgh's Hotlist ultimate goal is.
Yeah.
You know,
it's true. We should be celebrating people more for sure.
Right.
Yeah. I bet you guys I bet you that would be fun to listen to. Like I imagine it being pretty like there are a lot of comedy in there.
Oh yeah. There's a lot of storytelling and everything. I know. Especially between me and my brother. And also Syra, she has she goes by Cy, but Syra is her whole name. But everybody has their different stories that they can tell, and they connect with different people. And but I would say my brother's probably more in the comedian, because he does stand up, like different than me and stuff. People see me and they think I'm the comedian. I'm not the comedian. They have jokes sometimes in real life, or there's people who mistake me for him all the time, or vice versa. Give me across the street, like, hey Nate, how's it going? And if they're close enough, I'll explain the situation. If not, I'll just wave. Someone said hi to you today, Nate. I don't know who it was. You know, like
you guys like always have like really hilarious bits back and forth. Like you guys are always going at one another with these bits.
Yeah.
It seems like, yeah,
like especially like more him. Like he's always like doing it. And like I go to a stand sometimes. Like, hey, what do you do? And you know, like these different comedians and stuff, they'll come at me sometime. You like, well, I ask, well, what are you doing here in Pittsburgh? And they're like, ooh, whatever. But like, yeah, it's very interesting, that dynamic between me and him, because he's definitely like more of the comedian that I'll go out and see. And sometimes on the punchline, a lot of his jokes, you know, I get it. People are like, did that really happen to you? I'm like, yeah, you know, everybody's like cracking up and stuff, you know, because he is funny. I'm not gonna lie. But like, yeah, they're like, yeah, he's the comedian. You're not. You're this. You're that. And whatever. I don't know.
I think you're both pretty funny back and forth.
You know, like, so it's very interesting getting us in the same room, you know, with things, and then we're very competitive. Like, get us on a basketball court. Yeah. We're very competitive. You know, when it comes down to that. But like, but I think we feed off each other in that Pittsburgh's Hotlist, plus when we do the podcast. You know, just feeding off of each other's energy all around. You know, like, what gives it life. You know, because everybody, you know, like you just try to highlight someone's what they got going on, like success-wise in life. You know, that might get overlooked from how much hard work you put in, because it's a lot of hard work to to gain attention and attraction. And you've been
Yeah.
doing that, then like it needs to be highlighted, especially if it's in a positive manner what you got going on. So that's
Yeah.
what.
Yeah. So what's happening now? Like, what are you doing now? What are you working on now?
Okay, so what I'm working on, just finished up some ADR on Swipe. ADR is the audio recording that you do like when you're still producing the film, right? There might be like little parts that they didn't hear clearly, so you got to do that. But like the Swipe, because that's coming. And then like what happens in the dark, that's the full movie that's going to come. That's going to be something I think you would need to see. I think you would like it. So yeah, I'm doing that. I just she just got done doing the movie with Robert Carr directed it. As far as like the soldier who's basically has like dementia and is coming back, like doing that one's coming out. So it's like several different things. I do commercials as well.
Yeah.
So oh yeah, and then the mayor of Kingstown, that's a huge one that's here in Pittsburgh that's being filmed. This is a series. So just doing that. So that like there's several different things always going on. Just trying to in industry and connect with people. And I think you'd be good for this. And they reach out or audition, and that's just how all these things come to fruition.
Yeah. So you say you're playing a man that comes out of dementia? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
I bet you that would be fun.
That's Robert Carr. Let me see here. Let me see here. Lost Mind.
Yeah, that would be fun. To play
and it's
that.
like he starts seeing things, right? He starts seeing things, and like at first he used to be walking, talking like if I'm walking, talking with you, then I see someone over there. I'm not gonna give away the whole movie, but like this is part of it. Like you see that, and he starts going into this alternate personality, and and things start to happen where he just really believes these things exist, and maybe in his mind they do. His reality is happening right now, and because things happen in war and they trigger other things, sounds and everything. So you can imagine all of that, and it's like and like obviously I'm homeless. If you've seen the cover, like the knife and everything, so it gets really creepy.
Yeah.
Like in the mind, it goes really dark. But I think some people can resonate with it, in certain situations, because like that is their reality. They think those things do exist.
Yeah. I was a CNA for 6.5 years, and I know how that works. It's like, like they're quick.
Yeah.
Like one minute they'll be there, and then the next minute they'll be there. It's like, you know what I mean? Like they really don't have any control.
Right. Yeah. When you start seeing that, I've seen that stuff in real life as well. Like it's their reality, and it exists right then and there. You gotta be very careful with people or what's going on, especially with war veterans, because certain things they can mess around and hurt somebody, if not themselves.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to be on guard. You have to be like a ninja.
Yeah.
Because they do. They'll take out ribs and everything.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I think that's a really good movie that highlights that.
Yeah, that'd be a fun character to play. Just don't get stuck in dementia. That sounds like a scary place.
Yeah, because you don't know like if the person's gonna come out of that and stuff. Like that is their reality, and and it depends like how they're viewing you at that time. If you look if you are who you are to them right then and there, or not. I mean, you could be the enemy, and if you're the enemy, it can get really dark really quick for you. So
it's so true. So I'm definitely going to be posting your website out and some links and stuff like that. And I appreciate you joining me. This is fun. I wasn't expecting it to be so philosophical, but it's awesome. I always love these talks.
Yeah. And thank you for doing that as well. But yeah, I love these talks too, connecting with people, and then just, like also seeing how some of your stories relate to some of my stories, so that I know I'm not crazy. Because, they always say, hey, either the individual's crazy or the world's crazy. But like
Right.
when you could find someone that you kind of connect on some common ground, you know, but
Yeah.
oh, okay. So it's okay. So that was pretty cool, you
Yeah.
know, to be able to do that and stuff, you know, and I can see like, you know, like just having this kind of conversation just regular over a table because like, you know, I thought that your source was very needed to hear, you know, like for people. And
Yeah.
so this was good.
Yeah. Yeah. I appreciate you.
Yeah, yeah. I appreciate you as well. Like you never know how these things are gonna go. Like you said, you know, you have maybe outlined somewhat how it's gonna go, but then you go into these different stories, but oh wow, and it triggers other things. Oh yes, you know,
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't, because people say they'll be like, well, what's the questions gonna be?
Mm.
And I'm like, no, that's not how we're doing this. Like,
Mhm.
and then they'll be like, well, I need the questions. And I'm like, I don't know that this is gonna be like we're gonna be a good, dynamic for this. And
Yeah,
but I just want it to be an authentic thing, you know what I mean? Like I don't want to be fake. I don't want anybody else to be fake. I want it to just be an
right.
authentic thing. Because we do. We all have so much wisdom and
Yes.
beauty and inspiration to share. And it's a blessing that God brought me to this. What's funny is like it was May of the previous year. God put it on my heart to do it, and I did like 3, and then I ran, and I was like, "No, I'm good. Like I'm not doing that." And then January rolled around. It was like, God will tell me to do something, and then I'll run from it, and then it gets to the point where it won't let me alone, and
Right, right.
so that's where I was in January, but I've been pretty steady since, and I'm like booked up until September, and I just keep getting
Wow.
more bookings. And like last week, I had 3, so it's been crazy, but it's been a blessing for sure.
Right. Yes. Yes. So yeah, yeah. Because I think it connects with you because everybody has a story. Everybody has something
Yeah,
that they want to tell, right? But like if they don't have a platform like this, how would they tell it unless they're writing a book or they have another platform themselves? But that sometimes people just don't, and they need an outlet. And they
yeah,
really do have true, real stories that they want to get out there to the world. That so this is great that you're doing that. Like for the people.
yeah,
Because like who are they going to tell? They're going to tell people that don't really resonate with them and don't even know what the heck they're talking about. But like they want to get these stories out. You can tell people want to
yeah,
get this out, and this could help a lot of people. So it's just
yeah.
good. Glad you're doing this.
Oh, thank you. All right, well, I'll let you go, and I'll get a hold of you here in a little bit. God bless. I'll talk to you later. All right.
Yes.
All
Thank
right.
you. Have a
Thank
good
you.
day.
Bye. You too.
Goodbye.
Bye. Again, if you like this message, please hit subscribe because we have a new awesome guest coming up every week with a new inspirational story to tell. See you next time. Bye.